Yo, what's up, it's Zayn2K, also known as trulyxaen, and today I've got a wild story about one of the most packed days I've ever had. It started with pizza, turned into a full carnival adventure, ended with an all-you-can-eat buffet feast, and finished with me passing out while playing video games. So the day started pretty simple. I woke up feeling hungry, and the first thing on my mind was pizza. Not just any pizza, Domino's pizza. I ordered a large pie and waited for it to arrive. When it finally got to my house, I opened the box and got hit with that amazing pizza smell. I grabbed a slice immediately. The cheese was hot, the crust was perfect, and before I knew it, one slice became 2 slices, then 3. I was basically inhaling the pizza. By the time I was done, I was feeling pretty full and ready to start my day. After chilling for a little while, I decided it was time to head out to Coney Island. The weather was great, and I was excited because I hadn't been there in a while. The trip over felt longer than usual because I was so hyped. When I finally arrived, I could hear everything. The sounds of people laughing, the screams coming from roller coasters, the carnival music playing everywhere, the smell of food drifting through the air. The whole place felt alive. The first thing I did was head straight for the rides. I got on one ride that spun around so fast I felt like gravity had stopped working. Everybody was screaming while the ride twisted and flipped us around. When it ended, I stepped off and immediately felt dizzy. But instead of taking a break, I got right onto another ride. Then another, and another. At this point I was basically speed running every carnival attraction I could find. I rode giant swings that lifted me high above the park. I rode roller coasters that launched me down steep drops. I rode spinning rides that made it impossible to tell which direction was up. Every time a ride ended, I wanted to get on another one. Hours passed like this. I lost count of how many rides I actually went on. At one point I remember sitting on a bench for a few minutes looking out toward the ocean. The breeze felt nice. The sounds of the boardwalk mixed with the waves. It was one of those moments where everything felt perfect. Of course, the break didn't last long because I saw another ride and immediately ran over to it. By the time I was done, my legs felt tired from walking all over the place, but I was having too much fun to care. Eventually, though, something happened. The hunger returned. And not normal hunger. I mean serious hunger. The kind of hunger that makes you think you could eat an entire restaurant. That's when I decided it was time to hit a buffet. So I left Coney Island and made my way to a buffet in Flatbush. The second I walked inside, I knew things were about to get dangerous. There was food everywhere, rows and rows of food. My eyes got wider with every step. I grabbed a plate and started my first round. First up, sushi. I loaded my plate with sushi rolls. Then I grabbed another plate and got fried chicken. Crispy, golden brown, perfect. Then came the nuggets. A bunch of nuggets. At this point my table was already starting to look ridiculous. But I wasn't stopping there. Next came lobster. I saw it sitting there and immediately added some to my plate. Then I spotted sesame chicken. That sweet sauce looked too good to ignore. Onto the plate it went. Now most people probably would have stopped there. Not me. I somehow found room for another slice of pizza. And on the side, a serving of cabbage. I don't know why. Maybe I thought it would balance everything out. Maybe I just felt like eating cabbage. Either way, onto the plate it went. I sat down and began the feast. The sushi disappeared. The fried chicken disappeared. The nuggets disappeared. The lobster disappeared. The sesame chicken disappeared. The pizza disappeared. Even the cabbage disappeared. Every single thing on that plate got destroyed. Then I got another plate. And another. And maybe another after that. At a certain point I realized I had completely lost track of how much food I had eaten. I felt like I had achieved some kind of buffet world record. I leaned back in my chair and realized I was unbelievably full. You know that feeling when you eat so much that moving suddenly feels like a difficult task? That was me. Walking felt slower. Thinking felt slower. Everything felt slower. Eventually I knew it was time to head home. So I left Flatbush and started making my way back. The ride home felt peaceful. I spent most of it thinking about everything that had happened during the day. The Domino's pizza, the carnival rides, the ocean breeze, the buffet feast. It had been a packed day. When I finally got home, I dropped onto the couch and decided to relax. But I wasn't ready for bed just yet. I wanted to play some Skate 3. So I turned on my console and loaded up the game. The familiar menu music started playing. I jumped into a session and started skating around. I was hitting ramps, grinding rails, landing tricks. Well, mostly. There were definitely a few crashes. Actually, a lot of crashes. My character spent a surprising amount of time flying off the skateboard and tumbling across the pavement. But that's part of what makes Skate 3 fun. I kept playing for a while. The problem was that all the food and all the walking and all the rides were finally catching up to me. My eyes started getting heavy. I blinked more often. I started missing easy tricks. Then I realized I was barely paying attention to the screen anymore. I told myself I'd play for 5 more minutes. 5 minutes turned into 3 minutes. Then 2. Then 1. The next thing I remember was hearing the game music in the background while I drifted off. The controller slipped out of my hands. My character was probably still lying face first on the pavement after a failed trick. And just like that, after an entire day of pizza, roller coasters, carnival rides, sushi, fried chicken, nuggets, lobster, sesame chicken, cabbage, and Skate 3, I fell asleep. And honestly, it was such an incredible day.